My name's Adam Burgess. I'm a composer at Blizzard. I've been at the company for 5 years now, and I contributed some of the tracks on the Overwatch Cities and Countries album.
My name is Derek Duke. I'm music director at Blizzard Entertainment.
I'm so excited that Overwatch Cities and Countries has finally been released. We've been wanting to do a soundtrack like this for quite some time now. You know, Blizzard fans are the best fans in the world. We love hearing what you think. Most of all, we just really hope that you love listening to this music as much as we've enjoyed creating music for this game for over 5 years now. And when I think about game music, I also think about the world that it lives in. I think about the characters, think about the overall structure of the game, maybe the gameplay mechanics. These are all important considerations when you are creating game music. I think one of the best compliments that you can get is that the music really fits the world and fits the narrative if there's a narrative, and it feels cohesive, you know. I think you can write the most amazing piece of music in the world, but if it doesn't fit those other elements, it's kind of missed the point a little bit.
For me, the highest compliment would be that the music is accepted on its own merit. I think working within the game context is absolutely the most important, but in the Cities and Countries being released as a separate album, that people would appreciate it regardless of whether it's a film score or a music score or pop music or whatever, but just appreciate it on its own merits as music. And then if by some chance that brings people in some way to our franchise to explore our heroes, their stories, and play our game, that's all a bonus. But that the music not be categorized and just appreciated on its own, I think that's the highest compliment of all.
Creating music for video games has been one of the most rewarding things I've done. That said, there are challenges to it. You know, creative people, inspiration goes up and down. There's deadlines to meet. You have to kind of try to keep that tap of inspiration going all of the time. It can be difficult, it can be challenging. What really helps is keeping in mind those core aesthetic goals of the game you're working on. You know, with Overwatch, we always want it to be uplifting. With our location music that you hear on Cities and Countries, we always want to present, you know, that musical culture through the eyes of the Overwatch universe. Like, what does it sound like if you were living in that world? Those things help keep you aligned. It's challenging, but it's all worth it.
Our industry does move very fast, but I don't think it's our job or our duty or even in our best interest to try and keep up with those changes. Our duty is always to try and do what's best to make the game great and what's best for the franchise and for our stories and the gameplay, and that in and of itself helps keep the game and the music what's best. Of course, we are always pushing ourselves. It's the nature of what we do, and it's in the nature of this franchise, so we're always exploring new sounds, new music, new interests. The artists are always pushing themselves, so that in itself and the nature of what we do, we're always evolving. So
one of the most challenging things about creating music for Overwatch is the amount of musical styles we've explored. You know, we've done EDM music, we've done country western music, we've done rock-inspired music, we've done heavily orchestral music. There's just so much that goes into a game with characters with different personalities and maps with different locations all around the world. That is a challenge, but at the same time, it's one of the most fun and exciting things about working on the game.
I think the biggest challenge for me personally is always trying to exceed my own expectations and the expectations of those around us. With Blizzard, everything we do and every project we do, we are always trying to take it to the next level. And especially with Overwatch, at the very beginning, this being a new franchise and a new world, that coming from a place where we had never done this before, where there was no previous history, there were no existing themes, there was nothing to draw upon, just a blank slate. It was extremely challenging, but it's that always pushing yourself, being your own worst critic. I think that's the most challenging thing, but that's also what pushes us to the level of excellence that we're able to achieve at Blizzard.
When I think about Overwatch, I not only think about the amazing gameplay, but I also think about the world of Overwatch. You know, it's uplifting, it's hopeful, it's inspiring. In many ways, it's a world that I would want to live in. I think when it comes to video games, the best experiences are the ones where you get to escape for a little while. And I think that's a huge part of what makes Overwatch special.
Overwatch is a world that's obviously rooted in our own world. It takes place on Earth. What we like to call it as future possible, because it's a world that is possible, that can take place in our own future. It's a world of hope. It's not a dystopian future. It's not a science fiction game or universe. You asked me what my favorite character is, although it fluctuates from time to time depending. I'd have to say Winston, and it sort of generates from his outlook on life, and just his sort of wellspring of hope that he never gives up, and he's always striving to keep the team together or bring them back together, never giving up. He also has that special relationship with Tracer. She's also one of my favorite, and I sort of vacillate between those two. They have that sort of special relationship, but Winston's also one of those characters who really embodies sort of that message of the franchise, that embracing hope, curiosity, and growth, and making the right choices, and that we need to rely on ourselves to create a better world. So that's what our franchise is about, and our heroes are about, and it's just that's what part of what makes Overwatch such an amazing game and franchise. And